taking a quiz. Now, the quiz probably won't cover inequalities. I'll be real straight up with you guys. My plan is that, assuming I may feel a little poopy from side effects because I go to get shot 2 today, then we'll take the quiz on Wednesday because I may not feel great, right? Like, I'm just going to go ahead and assume I might not feel bad. People essentially say that's a good thing, though. Yeah, you're good. Nice.
Yeah, my stepmom got both of them. I mean, so did my dad, but like her arm hurt.
They say, like, if you feel bad, that's your body being activated by, like, the actual, vaccination. So not everyone feels side effects, but I don't know.
Used to have to pin me down when I had to get like vaccines or shots because I cannot handle the.
You're not good with shots.
Yeah, no, I can't handle shots at all. Like I me either. Every time they recommend shots, I'm like, sure, why not? And I got 3 shots once. I would much. I didn't feel good. I'm like so scared to get them, and then I get them, and I'm like, wow. I'd much rather have like that strep throat test than they distract you.
You guys are all like excitable this morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I said was shot, and you're like. All right, so if we can dive into our notes here, if you would go ahead and start looking at what I have here for you. I wish we had color printing, right? I wish we had color printing. But anyone want to read our first sentence here? Nate, go ahead.
Similar to an equation telling you the value of something, an equality tells us a range of values that could make this situation true. We can use a variety of words, but we use these simply.
So guys, these are not the only words that match with those inequalities, but this helps you come back to, like, if you have a verbal situation and you need to reference back to, did they say no more than? Or did they say at most? Those mean the same thing. So we have another author visit next week, right? We are, again, doing pizza and ice cream, at least I think, and ice cream. We're doing pizzas. So if we want to order pizzas for one of the days of the author visit, we want to order at least 90 pizzas. Take a shot on your paper at writing an inequality to show the number of pizzas that we want to order. We want at least 90. And if I was you, I would go ahead and highlight at least 90. Oh, I got to get out my random cards. What are you guys, blue?
Isn't the author Penny?
What?
What? Yes, it's yeah.
Isn't what?
Author's name. My dad knows. Wait, how many people are there at Phoenix, like in the 7th grade family?
Like 160 at Phoenix-ish. There's 80-ish in each grade. So on any one day right now, there's 80-ish people at school because there's only half of them. Isaiah, how many pizzas could we order if we want to order at least 90? Like, how many pizzas might you decide to order? If you were in charge of getting the pizzas, how many would you order? 7? You're going to order 7 when they said get at least 90? Or do you mean you want 7 for yourself? You want 7, but you got to order for everybody. So if you want 7 extra for yourself, what number could satisfy at least 90? What number, like, okay, so if we add on 7 for Isaiah, would 97 be at least 90?
Yeah. Yes.
How many would you order?
Yeah, I would probably order like around 100 total because
Sure.
just in case, yeah, exactly, have some extra.
Nate, how many would you order?
300.
300. Nate's real hungry. He's going to send pizzas home with everyone. So how we would write this out as an inequality, if we say that P is the number of pizzas, we want to order more than 90, at least most of you do, But could we get 90 and that satisfy at least 90? Well, let's look up and find our at least. At most, no. At least is right here. So this is greater than or equal to, because if I only get 90, if we decide to try to be nice to the PTSA and not spend extra money, 90 is allowed, right? I'm allowed to get 90 pizzas and that will feed everybody. So this bottom little bar is the or equal to. So I want you to make a little note here. This is or equal to. So that little bar at the bottom is our or equal to bar. Any questions on that? And really, guys, the only way to learn these is just practice them. The more you practice, the more you speak it. Allie, are you comfortable? Because we can raise or lower that for you. Or is that good height? Okay. Lacey?
I remember, like, in first or second grade when we were learning inequalities at first and how we would draw them as, like, as little alligators.
Now, what do we remember about the alligator?
That the alligator always eats the bigger number.
So if we want to come up here and make a note, if we have a small number and a big number, the gator is going to open up towards the bigger number. You are correct. So if you have this, it means x is smaller than 5, right? X is the littler or 5 is the bigger are two ways we could think about that. So yeah, good little memory of the gator would open towards the bigger number. Nate? I do. Well, too bad she's not here and I don't care. So you can if you want to. All right, anyone want to read the sentence here with negative numbers? Just trying to get you guys awake and alert this morning. Lacey, go ahead.
Negative numbers are defined as numbers that are less than 0 and look like this on the number line.
So here's what stinks about printing out. This didn't really work for printing out the shaded stuff. So we need to shade it on our paper. I don't care if you use your pencil or a highlighter. I may use a highlighter just because it's nice to look at. So negative numbers. Now wait, down here notice that the point 0 is not shaded. Is 0 negative?
No.
Is 0 positive?
No.
No, 0 is neither.
0 is 0.
So we would put an open circle on our 0 and then we would shade to the left. If the point is not shaded, that's because it's not included. So down here in this open space, or I realize with these notes, you could also write it up here. I'm probably going to write it in both places. If we want to write the inequality for negative numbers, if n is a negative number, we would say for a number to be negative, how does it compare to 0? Well, it's less than 0. A negative number is less than 0. Any questions? It does not include 0. That's why we do not include the or equal bar. If we included that or equal bar, we got a shade. We shade it in. So I will tell you which parts are shaded here, and then I do want you to try to answer these questions and write the inequalities. Down here, actually I can just show you, this should work. Here, copy those on your paper to see what is actually shaded, and then below each of them I want you to try to write the inequality that matches it. Yeah, highlighter's really good here, actually, for copying these. Martin, can you take a crack at our first one of how we're going to say the inequality that goes with this? And you can use any variable you want. So you can use X or Y or P or K or J or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and just say X. Martin, what's the number where our point is at? 0. So the first thing we can do, even if we don't know which inequality to write down, first thing we can do is put our variable and the number that we're looking at, right? We can say X, we can say 0. So then, am I shading above it, so like more than, or am I shading below it? More than. So X are our numbers. You could put like an X out here above. This is the range of where X is allowed to be. So X is bigger than 0. So the opposite of up here, where X was less than 0, right? That matches the situation up there. Our first one here is X is greater than 0. Circles, or the point is not shaded, so we do not have the or equals. Natalie, what about our next one here? We can just use X again, but careful, 2. Positive or negative? So the point we're looking at here is negative 2, right? So we can write down X, we can write down negative 2. Then you have to ask, which is bigger? Well, the numbers that we're shading out here they're below. This is tricky, because negatives are tricky. Are these numbers out here bigger or smaller than negative 2? They're actually smaller. Right, so here we would say X is smaller or X is less than negative 2. Guys, here's a trick I don't love talking about, but never fail. Someone has been told this. As long as you write your variable first. So I have X first. The direction that the shading goes is the direction this points. See how this is pointing to the right and the shading pointing to the right? See how this is pointing to the left and the shading pointed to the left? So if that helps you, that's a trick that some people use. I don't love it because that only works if the variable comes first. So if you put down the X first. Because this could also be written as, and you might want to write the or, 0 is less than X. That's the same thing. And over here, or negative 2 is greater than X. Every inequality has 2 ways to write it. We can just pick up the whole thing and flip the whole thing around. X is less than negative 2, or negative 2 is bigger than X. Try these next 2 if you haven't done them. If you have, go ahead and try to graph the inequalities at the bottom of the page. Did you read what I wrote there, or what I typed there? Make sure that you're trying this on your own, not sitting there doing nothing.
Wait, can I do
Well, you don't like mine?
I just can't see it very well.
I totally get it.
Okay.
Lily, can you tell me how we would say what is shaded here? I'm struggling to hear you a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to write it both ways here. So we have either 3 is less than or equal to whatever variable you're using, or we could have said x is greater than or equal to -3. Sorry, not -3, +3. Well, that's good. I can change a negative into a positive. Nice and easy. You will see that I like to use the variable first way of writing the inequalities, but this works too. You can say 3 is less than or equal to x, but I like to talk about this region of x out here is bigger than or equal to that 0.3.
I was gonna do the second one, so I had the equal sign and the x is bigger, and I still wrote it the other way.
Yeah, so double check that you got everything pointing the right direction. Stella, how would we read this one? 0 is less than x. Now, is our point shaded in? Yeah, this point is actually shaded in. It's hard to see. But yeah, if you can't tell that, that point is shaded in, so please make that happen on your paper. So that has or equal to. Or how I would write it is x is greater than or equal to. Both of those ways are absolutely fine. Now, Nate asked a really good question as we move on to the next section. What numbers do we need to put on the number line when we go to make the graph? Now, when you go to do this in Khan, the number line's probably going to have all your numbers on it. But when you make it for me, all I care is that we know what number we're looking at. So, right here, the number we're comparing to is 1. Let's put 1 on the line for, like, when we start, let's not shade the circle. Let's just put it on the line. Somewhere near the middle. Doesn't matter because nothing else is marked on the line, right? So now we go back and read this and say x is greater than 1. So I do not shade in my circle because it's not equal. And I shade above, making sure I put an arrow on the end of my shading because it will keep going. Questions on this? If you do not have a question, do the next 2 on your own. Whoa!
No, don't say that.
Careful there. If it's easy, I expect you to get all your homework done tonight. I was like, fine, I will. And then we're all happy because that's exactly what I want to have happen. So, yay. Sydney, how do I read this next one? Like, can you just say this out loud for me? Yeah, x is greater than 0. So we're going to put a 0 somewhere on our line. So do I shade to the right or to the left? To the right. To the right. To the right. To the right. I miss having dances and stuff. And getting to, like, dance silly together. I was. I still am the DJ. I will be whenever we come back. Everybody, how do we read this?
Bigger or equal to.
Yeah, make sure that you see that it is x is greater than or equal to. So the 0 gets shaded in, and then we shade to the right. 2 hops this time.
I forgot that was small.
Any questions from the front? Did you guys hear it? That was the exact same rhythmically of everybody clap your hands. Any questions from the front? Oh, I need a second copy of notes because my pen bleeds through there.
You got a new chair too.
I got a new chair.
Yeah,
This one? This one I brought from home, but yeah, I've had it since we moved over here. All right, excuse me, flip to the back. Graph these on your own. Take a moment. You should be able to do it totally on your own. I'm going to minimize my camera and just show you the answers to them here in a minute because it's kind of hard. Actually, do you guys want to come up to the board and do it since this is so easy? Natalie, would you like to come up? I'll turn on the ink. Hey, quick review in case you guys forget. When you come up to the board, this is how you change color and thickness of the pen. So normally I bump it up a little bit, and then I normally don't use red because it's harsh. So do you want to do one? Nate, do you want to do one?
Yeah.
I see you try to stay seated for now, and then we'll random draw. And then if you can just hang on to the pen and we'll wipe it off with your wipe at the end of class. Stella, you are up next. Do you want to do one? Yes. I love my stack of cards. Why are you shaking your pen in her face? Do I need to not let you do it now? I'm debating if I should let you come up and do it now because you're being a goofball about it. Is it done on your paper, Nate? Yeah, because you had to hesitate. Now be careful. Read that. X is, how do we say that? X is bigger. Yeah, and then put an arrow on the end of it. And then we just use a flat hand. All right, so check your work. You can just take that back to your desk with you. We'll wipe it off at the end of class. Yeah, you can just take it back to your desk. We'll wipe it when I don't want to waste wipes, and I don't want to make you use more wipes than necessary. Any questions on, we made negative to our reference point. We shaded it in, and we shaded above it. X is greater than or equal to -2. Nate, come on up. Yep. And then you just have to tap somewhere else for it to go away. Tap on the board. Yep. All right, Stella, come on up. Are you coming? Oh, here. That is yours now, and that's all of them.
How do I do it again?
You can just write. You don't have to change color. No, don't hit cancel. So that bottom left. This will let you change color.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I forgot Power Rangers. My grandma used to record, you know how you can record it on the TV? She used to record the episode. Same, my grandma used to do that too. My brother watched one.
Now, is the point above the -4 open or is it shaded?
It's open.
So make sure that you indicate that it's open.
Nope.
You gotta like place multiple fingers, then drag it where you want to.
Like your whole hand.
Yeah. So just make an open circle. There we go. Now normally we're doing this on the line, like literally on the number line. It's okay that Nate's is a little above, but normally we're doing it like literally on the number line. So double check that on those three. You have closed circle, and then open circle. We shade it to the right, we shade it to the left, and we shade it to the right again. Any questions on the graphing? We're going to knock out the next section real fast, right, Lily? Yeah, there we go. So, in con, when we talk about testing solutions, and actually I feel like it looks nicer if I just come back over here a little bit. All you're doing, and we actually like really could almost skip over this. All you're doing is saying, when I plug in this number, is it true? So, test is 7 times 1 less than 21? Yes, so A is an option. Is 7 times 2 less than 21? Yes. Is 7 times 3 less than 21?
No, it's exactly 21.
Ooh, it's
but there's
equal.
not a line under it. So it's not.
That's bad. So check these other ones on your own. Is 7 plus? Or is B minus? Check the other ones. So we're
yeah, never mind. I see what you mean.
yeah, check ABC over here for the middle guy, and then check ABC over here for this guy. Yeah, I don't like that they're using variables A and B when we're looking at a multiple choice question. I do not like that.
Can you erase the arrows on the screen?
Oh, yeah, that would be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would probably help.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Guys, can we write things that aren't true?
No.
Like, could we write down, like, Miss Allie's a big fat meanie pants, even though it's not true?
Yeah.
So, mathematically, you can write down something that is not true. You can write down 1 plus 1 equals 7. You can write down 1 plus 3 equals purple. That doesn't mean it's true. So what we're testing here is it true, right? So is 7 plus 3 less than 11? Yes. Is 7 plus 4 less than 11? Do I need to call on somebody? Is 7 plus 4 less than 11? No, this does not come out true.
7 plus 4 is 11.
Yeah, 7 plus 5 also too much. Now be careful with subtraction over here, right? Is 8 minus 3 less than 5? No, it's equal to. Darn. Is 9 minus 3 less than 5? Oh, wait, I'm writing this down wrong. I need is 5 less than 9 minus 3. Yeah. No. Thank you for asking that. If I write it down with b minus 3 is less than 5, that's different than 5 is less than b minus 3. I cannot write this down, b minus 3 is less than 5. If I wanted to write this down with b minus 3 first, check it. I would like you to do this with me. If I write down b minus 3 first, I have to flip the inequality symbol around so that the gator still opens towards the bigger value. So when the problem starts, we know b minus 3 is the bigger value. So if I write this down the other way, which we're allowed to write this down the other way, but this still has to be the bigger value. So now down here I could write down, is 10 minus 3 bigger than 5? Yes. Super, super, super important rule about inequalities. Now here's something crazy. When we have been solving equations, something weird has been happening and you just haven't noticed it. If you have, let's say, well, I'm recording, so I'm going to write it up here so that anyone in the video can see it. If you have negative 5x equals 20, let's say, how would I get this x by itself?
20 minus 5.
You're answering too fast before you have a chance to think. How? Not what is the answer. How do I do this? Divide, right? It is multiplied. Guys, you're making me nervous about our quiz later this week because this is what I'm going to be asking you to do. Now, as Lily already told us, the answer we get is negative 4. Here's the weird thing I'm telling you that you don't know is happening. This equal sign actually flips around. But does it change when an equal sign flips around? Does it change what it is? No. So equals, even turned around, is still equals. So any time we multiply or divide by a negative, guys, I would highlight this. I would like multiplying or dividing by a negative. This actually happens in equations also, but you don't notice it because it doesn't matter. So what starts as a greater than, we multiply both sides by negative 1. We did that. Now this, like, essentially we have the same step written here twice because there was color. This was colored. So it didn't really work because the color kind of disappeared. But we can go ahead and color code it on our own, right? So also on this other side, then the division by negative 1. Dang it, this is wrong. This should be positive. I did not catch that in my copies. Yeah, I grabbed this from the internet. They should both be positive. Wow. So cross this out. This should become x is greater than or equal to a positive 2. That's what this should become over here. Please make sure that you cross that out. It is wrong. Oh, you could just make these both positives. That's actually a really good idea, to just make them both positive. Questions? I want to give you 5 minutes to try these at the bottom on your own. They solve just like equations did, except for that trapdoor. So at the bottom of the paper here, we're going to try these 6. If you run out of space, you can grab a quarter sheet of graph paper. You can grab a full sheet of graph paper. Remember, guys, you are trying this on your own. You're not sitting and waiting for me. That's pointless. It does not help you at all. You can draw that line down the middle if you want. We're going to random card. So even if you get stuck on one of these, please like move on to another one and make sure that I could then like circle back to you, because 6 of you are going to help me solve these problems. Go fix it.
And I erased it and I erased the whole thing.
Well, can you write it off to the side or something? Isaiah, in that first one there, with the negative 12, what are we going to do to isolate the x? So what do you do to both sides? Was there something multiplied by the x that we started with? So double check with yourself, like ask, how is something connected with the x? Lacey, you want to help us out with that first one there?
The first one, yeah, so, wait, so I was trying to figure out how to get from 44 to negative 12, because, I figured out that to get from 44 to negative 12, you would have to subtract 56, so I figured that out, that x would equal negative 56.
Absolutely, except it's not what x equals.
X is, wait.
Yeah, so guys, don't make this harder than it is. What is with the x? How do I get rid of it? Don't overthink it. You don't have to, like Lacey's sitting here saying, I'm trying to figure out how I get from 44 to negative 12, and she's right. It's negative 56, but you don't have to think that hard. What you need to think is, what is with the x? A positive 44. How do I get rid of a positive 44? Yeah, a negative 44. I make it 0. The inequality symbol does not change directions. I wanted to make sure that we all see this. I know you can't see it. This has an or equals, so your answer needs to have the or equals. I have no idea. Well, there you go. Answer to the mystery. All right, so move on to the next one. Martin, what do I need to get rid of on that next one here? How do I get rid of a -4? A +4. So we add 4 to both sides. Because we did not multiply or divide, nothing's moving, like nothing's flipping directions. We just get x is less than or equal to 13. Wow, you want to get out of here that badly?
No, I'm just curious because you keep looking at the clock.
52. Yeah, and actually I have clocks on every screen. I don't know why I choose to look at that one, but we got plenty of time, actually. Like, surprisingly, we got plenty of time today.
Does that mean we can finish last week's notes?
No, so when we don't finish notes, they're just unfinished. So if you have questions about whatever we didn't get to, you can come see me at AOR Extensions. But I pretty much always plan on moving on, unless there's something critical that we didn't get to. That was extra practice. I can't hear you. We only have 5 minutes, and now the amount of questions you guys are asking, we're going to run out of time.
What does the first answer look like again? Let's see. All right. It's -50. Okay.
-56
Yeah.
is less than or equal to x. Or if I want to flip this around and write the x first, I could say x is greater than or equal to -56. Because I have to flip everything around. If I want to write it the other way around, I flip everything around.
But your tests are always open though, right?
No, not always.
Most of the time. The tests that we've had so far.
Sydney, what is done in the last one over there that we need to undo? Yeah, we need to divide, right? Sorry, I asked you 2 questions at the same time. I got to stop doing that. So there is multiplication. We divide. But guys, we divided by a positive. So there's no trapdoor, nothing crazy happens. This stays the same direction. However, in the next situation, the division that we need to do is with a negative number. So when we go to write that answer out, the first thing I think about is, trapdoor, I need to flip this inequality. My pen is dying. So we flip the direction of the inequality. This comes out to be a -3. What we actually do in the next one, and this normally throws people off, is we just say, if I want positive x, there are 2 ways to do that. You can either multiply by -1 or divide by -1. Either way gets you to a positive. So if you want to divide by -1 or multiply by -1, doesn't make a difference. We can multiply by -1, divide by -1. They are the same thing, right? Quote unquote, kind of. So this flips direction. Careful, careful. Becomes x is bigger than. And then this becomes positive. The last one there, what do you need to do to both sides? The last one there? Multiply by -4. And you will get
A number.
Yeah, 120 is, I gotta go double check on which direction that points. So obviously just like the area where you whole table.
Wait, 120 is what?
I gotta go check my paper.
120 is larger than that.
So then just stick it on the board, it magnetizes.
Back? Oh, cool.
Yeah, so if we multiply by -4, we get 120 is larger. Because this had to flip around. And that is it. We made it through everything. Yay! And there was much rejoicing. Let's just not talk about that. Things got crazy and I decided it wasn't important and I didn't want to stress you guys out with it.
What?
She's commenting that I haven't done a notes track in a while. Well, and now we all have worksheets, so it's a bit easier.